Yeah, it's good now. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. See, this is the training content we are going to discuss in this course. So the course duration is 40 hours. We can finish up in 35 hours, and sometimes in some cases it might go up to 45 hours also, but it all depends. But coming to the standard timing is to like 35 hours, so that as per this plan we have 5 more hours, so that we can just cover up other things like while you practice, if you see any doubts and if you want to clear up the any other things, so we can just utilize the another extra 5 hours, so the total duration would be 40 hours. Okay, then going to history of serialization and roles of ATTP. See, basically serialization is something like when you go to any medical hall or somewhere, if you purchase any tablets or capsules, basically it is called as a blister. So if you observe, I mean, people used to check for MRP and expiry dates, right? So along with expiry date, we would see there is a 2D matrix code, and along with 2D matrix code, we would see a serial number and the batch number. So these two, I mean, these the extra three things are maintained for EU, Russia, USA, and even some parts of UAE. So in our case, we'll simply don't find these things in India, but even India has some batch name, and they would come up with some serial number. But these things never meant. I mean, these things were not reported to any reporting hub or any regulatory body within India. So even we have a regulatory body called DAVA. So as per Indian regulatory body, so we are just concerned with the all export things. So the items which are getting exported from India should be reported to DAVA. But coming to these individual items which are I mean selling in within India, there is no track. But in the EU, so this is something well established, and even in USA, right now it is still under process, so it's not fully organized. But initially, they have come up with 2023 as the deadline uh, to totally configure the things, but it might take some more time. EU is, as I said, EU is fully established. And coming to Russia, Russia is more prompt and more organized even compared with the EU, because they even track the extra event called aggregation. So aggregation is something like, so it is uh, the tracking would be at multiple package levels also. Whether it is coming to EU, EU will just concern about the each stage, like the item stage. They'll just concern about the blister. But coming to Russia, so they will concern about the initial package, cotton, and the even pallet. Okay. So I mean, you'll get to know all these things once the classes go on. Okay. Then going to mm master data element. So Subhash, you were saying about the GCP, GLN, these things, right? So GCP is just kind of mobile number that we have. Even the GLN also just kind of a mobile number. So it is a unique, and it is registered with the GS1, and at the same time it is registered with the consent regulatory body. Okay. So whatever the files are, what we are reporting to the EU hub, and even the response coming from the regulatory body of the consent country, the things are dependent on this GCP and GLN. So they do communicate over these numbers actually. Okay. Then going to logical system setup. See, in order to communicate in between regulatory body or in between our vendor or ourselves, so we have to have some communication setup, right? So in our case, so every individual will have a logical system. Either I mean, our business partner might be our customer, or he might be a CMO, or the customer, I mean, the business partner would be a regulatory body. So everyone has individual logical system. So we have to set up our that system in our system. so that we can just communicate with each other. Then business partner setup in ECC and synchronization in ATTP. So this is something we are going to cover up. It's like a whole master data. We have to uh, set up and integrate material master, vendor master, and even plant also from ECC to ATTP. So once it is in, I mean, the integrated into the ATTP, again we have to make some changes and we have to make it ready for serialization process. Okay. So GLN setup, GTIN setup, these things will be covered under master data setup and vendor setup. Coming to system setup in ATTP, as I said, so every partner has to maintain a system, right? So that is something we are going to cover up in system setup. Serial number profile and automation, these are the things like these should be done as per the business requirement. So we are going to discuss these things very separately. And then going to event management. So I was saying about the aggregation event for Russia, right? So these are the some events like commissioning, aggregation, loading, shipping. It all depends upon the business requirement. Okay. So these are the things we have to, I mean, we are going to discuss each event very detailed, and even we have to do some practice like uploading the commissioning file, aggregation file, loading file, shipment file, so that you people will get the clear picture, so how it works in real time. Then again, event management test tool. So this is something covered under EWM module. So how we will scan and how we will send those things, and end-to-end sales scenario shipping event, even this is covered in the shipping event. Coming to EPSIS file, version 1.1 and version 1.2. See, frankly speaking, I never concerned about these versions, so I'll just explain you how it works and what are the things we are supposed to take care in the EPSIS file while uploading, or even if we get any error also. So what are the things we are supposed to check and confirm? So I'll explain you all those things. And authentication and reporting event. So these are the things covered in upcoming classes. Application identifier, CBV data configuration. These things are covered under the configuration class. So even these places a major role. I was saying about the batch, serial number, expiry, right? So each and every parameter has a application identifier. So it is identifier, I mean, it is identified with different number. For example, for serial number, before serial number, this application identifier will act as a prefix. The number is 21. So it varies for different parameter here. So we are going to explain those things too. Then data coding, encoding, settings for barcode, all these things are covered under the configuration. Authorization management. So this is something where we can handle which user has to has which access. So I mean it all sets the extension of the access. So we just allow some user for US market, and we have to allow some other user for US market and along with the EU. So all those things are maintained and taken care under authorization management. Then rule customization. So as I said, and under point 11, so I discussed about like commissioning, aggregation, loading, shipping, right? So these are the events. So when one event is happened, we have to our system will automatically trigger a rule, and that rule will reaches the concerned regulatory body of the country. So where how to do that, and what is the purpose, so we are going to discuss under rule customizing. And again, reporting customizing nothing but, so the data which present in our system has to be reported to the concerned regulatory body. So for first we'll send a message to the regulatory body just verifies from where it is coming, and is that whole data is valid or not. So in case if there is any discrepancy, So we'll simply get back a response saying that so these are the things has the discrepancy. So in that case, we have to recheck and we have to reprocess the message. Okay, and Subhash and Monita, I mean, is that okay? Am I going speed or just you guys are following me?
That should be fine, Kiran.
Yeah, thanks, Subhash. And how about you, Monita?
Yeah, going good. I'm listening.
Yeah, I mean, initially it might sounds different, but as we going to our lab, like the system, and when we start discussing about each and everything in detail, so you will get good idea. Okay. So then error handling, so SAP, WM, and ADTP integration. Uh, these are the things. Subhash, I think can you please put you on yourself on mute? Yeah, thank you. So SAP EWM and ATTP integration. So these are the things we are going to cover in our coming up classes. So SAP ICH. SAP ICH is another product from SAP. So it acts as a middleware in between our ATTP system and our client system. Okay. So even in between regulatory body also. So first message from our ATTP will reach out to SAP ICH, and from SAP ICH it will reach to EU hub or the customer or CMO. So simply SAP ICH will act as a middleware. Okay. Then SAP RIC. So this is something. I mean, I never worked on SAP RIC EFW. I think this is the new thing coming up. So once we started training, so I'll just check this and I'll come up with the discussion over this. Okay. Then going to next one, overview of
Kiran,
2023 compliance.
Kiran, I think the write-ups are about the customization objects, maybe previously with any of your projects, right? If you have gone through any of the customizations, I think you can just explain them to us so that
Yeah,
it gives
yeah.
us
Oh,
more.
oh, okay. So I mean, as per business requirement, so we have to do some customizations. So I'll
Right.
explain those things from my past experience. Okay.
Okay, so something similar to in my company, right? So for the GTNs which are created in the material master, like the material master 2 view with respect to
Yeah.
the box, we cannot directly delete them, correct? So in order to
Yes.
delete them, I think we need to go for a customization, right?
Yeah.
So those type of things, and also
Okay. Okay.
while, yeah, maybe something like that. If you have something implemented in your company which is not part of the standard, maybe if we could
Yeah.
discuss
Yeah.
that.
Customization. Yeah. Yeah. We do have some customization. So I'll just explain those things. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Then overview of 2023 complaints of US. So we are going to discuss this. So as I said, US is not fully serialized. So still it's uh, like the process is in progress. And the last one, the interesting one is interview preparation. So this is something definitely I'm going to come up with some questions along with the answers. Uh, so even I'll make sure you people are confident enough to go for a new job and attend any interview. Okay. So in your case, Subhash, so you are I mean already you are holding a job and you are going to learn so many things within your current set of roles. But coming to Monita and other new guys who are coming in, so definitely I'll help you out with the questions and all these things. Okay. See, then going to introduction. Basically, I have already started some sort of introduction here. Uh, so let's briefly discuss again. So coming to market requirements, let's take EU as an example. So within EU, each and every pharmaceutical product, even nowadays, they have serialized for leather and tobacco also. So even for some fashion industries also following the serialization. So the main purpose of the serialization is to avoid counterfeit products in the market because these counterfeit products are taking around 20% of market share. So these are the survey provided by uh, some survey companies in the EU and in the US. So in order to avoid this, these companies like major companies like GSK and other top distributors from US and EU has come up with, I mean, they has uh, joined with the SAP, and they has come up with a tool called SAP ATTP. So the tool has been available since uh, 2016 and 2017. So that was the introduction phase, and 2000, from 2019, so EU has come. EU, the deadline for EU to implement the serialization was 2019 April. So by that time, EU has totally serialized except aggregation. This is, I mean, one of the milestone for pharma industry, because basically most of the countries are at this moment are concerned about the pharma. Then, as per just like EU, they again come up for tobacco, leather goods, and all those things. Then why SAP ADTP? So as I said, just to avoid the counterfeit products, it's not only consuming the market share of the I mean the companies, but also it's affecting the health of the customers. And another thing is like in EU, I mean all Western countries. So when a customer has taken any tablet, and if he got any reaction or something, so the people simply go to the court and they'll file a case. So in that case, the for example GSK. So if customer has filed a case on GSK saying that so he has taken this tablet or capsule, and he got some irritation or something. So in that case, GSK should be in a position to prove that the product is not manufactured by the GSK. So if he has implemented the serialization process, and if he has the serial number, batch number, and even the 2D matrix code, so he can just simply prove that the product which has consumed by the consumer is not manufactured by the GSK. So in that case, GSK can simply come out of this case without paying any penalty. But if he failed to prove it's not manufactured by GSK, so he has to pay lump sum amount to the customer. So even to the legal body also. So this is the another prospect where companies are, uh, I mean, were shown interest in implementing the serialization. So in the 2019 and 2017. Okay. So SAP ADTP and version. So we have around 3 to 4 versions. It started with 2.6, 2.8, 3.1, and 3.2. So each and every version it has come up with some features like the system overall performance has improved, and we have in the 3.1 and 3.2 we can have the GCP up to 12 digits. So earlier it was up to 8 digits only. These are the few things, and I'm going to cover up these things while doing demo or while we discussing other things. So where there is a new change, I'll just explain you, and I'll show you how the new version is helping us. Okay. See, business process coverage. So as we said, basically the company has to register themselves with the GS1 and also with the concerned country's regulatory body. Okay, so the each and every serial number or other things has to be uh, initially master data has to be reported to the regulatory body, and thereby the serial number. These things should be I mean the reported to the regulatory body. So solution scope, ATTP is a huge tool. Like when we speak about the serialization, so it has no flaws because it's been already around 8 years. The tool has been came into the market. So at this moment, we don't have any flaws. And if you want to fit some additional thing like customization and all those things, so you people might know SAP how big the product is, so they always encourage, and they will support the customization. So it has a huge scope to support any kind of regulatory body and any kind of set of the rules. Okay. Then GS1 EPSIS and standards, so these things again, so we have to take up a separate class. So how it works, so what is GS1, what is EPSIS, okay, country packages available, so it all depends upon the country. Like for example, in the EU, we just concerned about the initial package, the item package itself, so we are not concerned about the case level or the container level things. But in the case of Russia, so we are concerned about the cotton level and even the container level also, okay. Technical solution elements, architecture, data model, so these are the things come up in the next sites, I guess. So integration, see architecture with technical attributes. See if we see, for example, if we go with the packaging line, so in order to connect with the packaging line, so we have to use either through RFC or web service. So these are the things we are going to check how we can set up, okay. And see the SAP Advanced Track and Trace for pharmacy. The blue box will represent our system. So on the bottom we have a packaging line. So on the left side, sorry, on the right side we have a supply chain partner, and on the left side we have SAP ECC or S4HANA, and on top we have government system. See, if you see, we just connected with all of these partners, okay, either through RFC, either through web service, OData or SOAP services. Okay, being a pharmaceutical company, so we have to take the master data from SAP ECC or S4 HANA. Okay, so once master data is set up, so it has to be integrated into our SAP ATTP box. So first thing is master data, we do that, and another thing is transactional data. So transactional data is something going to be changed by day to day as per the business process. Okay, so those things, I mean, that data should be consumed from SAP ECC to SAP ATTP. Okay, we have to do some setups in ECC in order to consume the data. So even here we have to do some customization. Okay, then from packaging line, so this is where we have to exchange the serial numbers. See, we will just generate the serial numbers in our box, but majorly the packaging line supposed to have that serial numbers in order to print those numbers on the items, isn't it? So we have to get connected with the packaging line. So again, the connection would be web service or RFC. We have to generate the serial numbers in our system, and we have to send those numbers to the packaging line. Again, it's a completely automatic process. So when packaging line places a request, so it reaches our box, and the system will just verifies whether we have enough numbers or not. If we have enough numbers, the request will be served with the requested quantity of numbers. Okay, then supply chain partner. So again, see if we have any contract manufacturer. So we'll just give our order to the supply chain partner, in our case CMO. So they'll just uh, produce the goods, and even for that, even the CMO is capable of packaging the goods. So they has to take the serial numbers. Again, they has to consume the serial numbers from our system, and they have to print it. Okay, so in this case also we have to get connected with the supply chain partner. So coming to government system, so this is the last part again. So we'll just connect with the web service soap, and this is file through SFTP and all those things. I think file is using for Indian regulatory body DAWA. Okay, but coming to EU hub, Russia, even USA, so it is going through web services only. Okay. Mm, Subhash, I mean, is there any doubt, Subhash and Monita? So as such, if you see this architecture, so do you feel like asking anything here?
So for the contract manufacturers, right? So how the
Yeah.
serial numbers would be like pulled in and then pulled out? They will be taking our serial numbers which are created into our system, or they will send us the serial numbers back to us to create into the
No,
ATTP system.
we are supposed to generate the serial numbers because
Okay.
we own those numbers, and the same number should be reported to the regulatory body, and at the same time the number should be stored in our system for around 6 to 10 years something. Okay, it all depends upon the business requirement.
Okay.
So even we have a provision to reuse the serial numbers. I mean, we can just set a serial number expiry date like something like 5 years. After 5 years, we can just reuse the same number. So system will regenerate the same number after 5 years. Till that 5 years, the unique serial number will not be repeated by the system. So these things will I will explain in the upcoming classes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So what we will do is we will create a partner, and then with respect to that partner, we will assign those serial numbers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
See, for example, we have a material called paracetamol. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to set up that paracetamol as a master data in our system,
Correct.
and if you just consider we are giving this contract to our CMO. Okay, so in
Right.
that case, CMO has to be maintained as a business partner in our system, and there
Mm-hmm.
should be a system assigned to the this CMO in order to exchange the FSys files and the serial numbers. So we'll just
Right.
generate the
That will be on with
yeah,
that
we'll
system.
just
Correct.
yeah, we will just generate the serial numbers for paracetamol product within our system, and then once we intimate the CMO will place a request for the serial number for this paracetamol product. For example,
Okay.
the product size is 1 lakh, so he would request around 1 lakh 10,000 or 1 lakh 20,000, because manufacturers always make sure they has enough serial numbers than the product quantity, because there might be damages while packaging, right? So they always request for 10 to 20,000 serial number. So some clients will allow, some clients won't allow. So it all depends again with the business requirement. So once CMO places a serial number, so our system will give them serial number. So they'll just print those numbers on the product, and once the product is ready, so they'll post a message that is called commissioning message with the 1 lakh quantity. So that file will reaches our system. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
then thereby we have to report that 1 lakh quantity to the regulatory body. So in case first they have sent the 1 lakh quantity to our system, and we have reported to government body EU hub. But while loading these goods into the truck, I mean, while the shipment activity is happening, so there might be around 10 cases might get damaged. So while
Mm-hmm.
loading up, they might be fallen down or something happened. Okay. So in that case, again, manufacturer will send a decommissioning message with the 10 cases serial numbers. That
Okay.
implies these serial numbers are decommissioned and should not be marketed, supplied in the market. So this is how it works. Even in some cases, we'll just keep them as samples. In that case, we have to inform the regulatory body saying that these are the samples.
Okay.
So for each and every separate set up these things, we have separate rules, and we have separate process to handle. Okay.
Okay. That should be fine. And uh, it should. I mean, the messages will be triggered once the entire shipment has been completed, or even the partial shipment confirmation. Also, we get the messages triggered.
For
Let's.
partial consentment, basically system won't allow that.
Okay.
But sometimes it happens like if we use the, as I said, we have received 1 lakh commissioning, 1 lakh serial numbers, right? And if you send the 50,000 shipment with the same business transaction using outbound delivery, system will take it up. But within ECC, I mean the outbound delivery should not be closed in order to entertain other next 50,000 end numbers.
Okay. Suppose
We,
in the outbound delivery, right? So
mm,
in the outbound delivery, I have a 10 handling units. Okay. Mean to say the
mm,
10 containers. So what my third party or the 3PL does is whenever they ship a container, so I have 10 containers, right? They will ship one
okay.
container and they will send us a message back saying that we have shipped this container, and immediately that message would be auto updated into the ATTP, or my outbound delivery should be completed until 10 shipments or the 10 containers shipped by the 3PL, and then only it will update into the ATTP.
Yes, Subhash, generally how it would be like, see, you are saying 10 containers, right? So
Right.
manufacturer will send the shipment files once the 10 containers are filled up and left his premises.
But my 3PL will ship one container at one place. Mean to say that they will pick one container and they will send us a confirmation back saying that it was already picked. So I am receiving
There's,
a partial shipments in that case.
I mean, you will receiving the partial shipments, but are they sending the partial serial numbers?
Yes, they are sending the partial with respect to the handling unit. Within the handling unit, I have 10 serial numbers, suppose, for a product.
Yeah. So
So what they will
are
do
they
is they
are
will
they
send
sending
us a
the 10 serial
confirmation.
number?
Yeah, they
Okay.
will send
So
a
in that,
confirmation for that
yeah,
pallet.
yeah, in that case, for all those 10 containers, the outbound delivery should be one, right?
Yes, only one for those all handling
One
units. Correct.
outbound delivery. So for next 10 containers, they would use the single outbound delivery. So in that case, system will entertain.
Okay, so in that case, my outbound delivery should be completed in order to trigger the
Yeah,
commissioning message. Correct?
shipping message here,
Or
not
shipping
commissioning
message.
message, shipping
Okay,
message. Yeah,
shipping message. Okay.
yeah. So
So do
until
we have?
unless outbound delivery is open in ECC,
Mhm.
it will be open in SAP ATTP also. Once it get closed in ECC, then only the status would turn as a closed in ATTP. So this is how
Okay.
the integration and customization will be set up in between ECC and SAP ATTP. Because outbound delivery is something created either in ECC or in EWM, right?
Right.
So we simply consume the data. That's it.
Yeah, this is a feeder system. I understand that, but
Yes,
during the
yes, yes.
partial shipments, I think, yeah, that's okay.
So as until unless outbound delivery is closed, so we are fine. We can just send 10 serial numbers or 1,000 serial numbers of that 1 lakh quantity. Okay.
Okay.
Then see again, this is something we already discussed in the earlier tab. I mean earlier page, like how we connected. So packaging line, government body, so EWMO, third party, ERP, or supply chain partner, so whatever. So we just connected with web service or RFC. Okay. I mean within internal system we'll go with the RFC, but if it is an external system, we are supposed to go with the web services. Okay. See again, this is also we already discussed in last two slides. So we just again just showing the with the arrow marks how it goes. Okay. See in SAP ECCC the arrow marks is towards the SAP ADTP, so it explains the data is one word. I mean one way. Okay. So in the case of EWM also, the arrow mark is pointing towards the SAP ATTP. So it says the data is one way. Like from EWM, we just consume the data, but from ATTP, data will not be consumed by EWM. Okay. Uh, Local SAP ATTP. Okay. If we have any other box, we can just consume and save the data here. For supply chain, as we discussed for CMO, first we have to send the serial numbers, right? Again, CMO has to send the commissioning message, shipping message back to us. So the communication is, I mean, to and pro. So they will consume our data and they will send their data to us. So even in the case of government also, like we'll just send the data like commissioning message, shipping message, even our master data reporting. So we'll get a response back from communication. So that's why the communication is two ways. Okay. Then this is something when I started the class, I was saying about when we purchase any product, we'll just check for the MRP, right? So along with MRP, so these are the things printed over these boxes. For example, this is the GTIN, Global Trade Item Number, and expiry date, batch number, and the serial number. So I was saying about the application identifier in the first page under contents. Okay. See, for example, if you observe this GTIN, the zero
దీంట్లో
one
ఒక
acting as
కోడ్
a
నెంబర్ ఉంటుంది
prefix
కదా
here,
జీటీ
right?
నెంబర్ అనేది.
Hello.
ఇప్పుడు ఏ కంపెనీ వర్క్ చేస్తుంది నువ్వు? ఉమ్. దాంట్లో ఉంది ఐటీ ఉంది దాంట్లో. దాంట్లో ఐటీ ఉంది.
Subhash or Navin? Navin, I think someone is on. Not mute.
సో నువ్వు అదే కంపెనీలోని ఇలా దీని మీద వర్క్ చేసి పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. అంటే ఫేక్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ లో స్టెరిలైజేషన్ అనేది ఎవ్రీ ఫార్మా కంపెనీకి ఉంటుంది. ఇది డ్రగ్ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ ఉంటుంది, టాబ్లెట్స్ ఉంటుంది కదా. మా ఫార్మా కంపెనీ స్టెరిలైజేషన్ ఉంటుంది. అంటే మీకు కలిగిపోవచ్చు.
So, Navin, can you please mute attendee 4? Hello.
ఇప్పుడు ఎఫ్డీ నుంచి అప్రూవల్ చేసుకుంటారు. ఇలా వాళ్ళు మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ చేసే ప్రతి ఒక్క ప్రోడక్ట్ మీద వాళ్ళు రిపోర్ట్ చేయాలి గవర్నమెంట్కి. ఇప్పుడు వేరే కంట్రీ నుంచి
Sorry,
ఇంపోర్ట్
guys.
అవుతుంది.
Kiran, I
So,
think,
ఇంపోర్ట్
sorry,
అయినప్పుడు కొన్ని
Kiran, if you have to mute
కంపెనీ
all, maybe you can mute all.
no, I tried, but I can't mute it. See?
So Naveen is not present. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Now, yeah, he's on mute now. Okay, so these are the identifiers. If you see for ZIN, the identifier is 01. So application identifier always act as a prefix. See, 17 is for expiry date, 10 is for batch, and 21 is for serial number. Okay, so this is the data matrix code. Again, same data is encrypted here. So if you scan this data matrix code, so that same data would be reflected over your screen. Okay, serialization of drugs in practice. See, we have already discussed this thing during the commissioning message, but I'll explain you showing this picture again. See, production is clean room to blister. So blister is something, the basic pack, right? It consists of 10, 12, 15. The sheet, we call it as a sheet. So that is called blister. So 4 to 5 blisters will go into a small pack. Okay, so just as shown here, and this is called item level. So EU is concerned about this item level. Okay, and again these small packs will go into a carton. Yeah, putting these 10 small packs into a carton is called aggregation. Okay, so again, as these cases are aggregated into pallets, see, again 10 cartons or 100 cartons will be put into some big box called pallet. Okay, so again this is called as aggregation at pallet level. So once the pallets are ready, so it's showing a truck symbol here. So these will be loaded into this truck and will be sent into the distributor or into warehouse of the company, and thereby so the reporting will be done. And once reporting is done, so the company is supposed to and is eligible to circulate these products in the market. So until unless it is not reported to regulatory body, so they are not allowed to supply the goods in the market. Okay, see, they are reported and we can just verify even within EU hub. So if a pharmaceutical guy sold some medicine, so while selling out he'll just scan that product so that the serial number status would turned as sold and it is reported back to EU hub. So this is how well organized. Okay. Then going to next one, GS1 standards. See master data, business partners. See in ECC, we'll just call it as vendor or customer or client or something, right? But once the data is integrated into ATTP, we call it as a business partner. So again, business partner has types like own organization, customer, uh, third party, contract manufacturer, 3PL, like that. Okay. Coming to location, so within ECC we call it as a plant, but when it is integrated to the ATTP, we start calling it as location. So in the case of trade items, again these are the actual materials which were set up in the ECC. Once we integrate this material into our ATTP along with the serialization data, we call it as trade item. Okay, so this is the master data which we are going to discuss in a separate class. So we have to practice few things like setting, I mean creating a material, adding the serialization data to that material, and thereby we have to integrate and we have to check whether the integration is working successful or not, and we have to check once that how the data looks in the ATTP after integration. So these are the things we have to check. Okay. Then transactional data, see inbound deliveries, outbound deliveries, production orders. These things will be created and maintained in the ECC box, but we'll just consume these things. So in our case, inbound delivery, in the case of production order or purchase order, numbers will be consumed in the commissioning measures. Okay. In the case of outbound deliveries, the numbers are consumed, I mean, the utilized in the shipping message. Then going to warehouse toolbox event. So this is a EWM toolbox. So again, we just validate the things. Even we can before. I mean, if we are using the EWM, even our packaging line are we have using the EWM. So in that case, we can just validate the things before adding the file. So even we'll just show you how it works and what are the things we are supposed to do. Okay. Then again we have another box with the more details like info flow direction and interface technology like master data inbound. Inbound means the things which are coming into our system, right? So technology is RFC obviously. Transaction data again it is coming from ECC to ATTP, so it's inbound. Again, the technology is RFC, and warehouse toolbox events. Again, it's a incoming message like from it. I mean, ATTP is consuming data from EWM, so it is through OData services. GS1 standards. So GS1 has some set of standards. So I mean, each and every company should follow them. See encoding and decoding according to the tag data standard TDS 1.1, 1.9. So for example, no, I'll just show you these things and explain you while configuring. Okay, so if we go into more details, you people might get confused. So it would be appropriate if we take these things while configuring the system. Okay, then going to repository. So again, see GTIN here it is showing as SGTIN. That means it's a serialized GTIN. LGTIN, so lot level GTIN. Okay, business transaction type. So inbound delivery, outbound delivery, process order, production order. So these all are business transaction types. Okay, and EPSIS event. So any event is a EPSIS event in our case, like commissioning message, shipping message, aggregation message. Okay. Then GLN as a location identifier. So see, as I said, we have a mobile number, right? So each and every person's mobile number would act as a unique number, isn't it? So GLN stands for global location number. So if we have a plant should have a GLN, just like our mobile number. So the number would be unique and it consists of 13 digits and it should be registered and taken from the GS1. And these GLN, as a part of master data, it should be reported to the consent regulatory body. Okay. Then business vocabulary, EPSIS core business vocabulary, CBV. So these things are discussed while we start our system configuration. Mm, then EPSIS interface, EPSIS capture notification. So again, the commissioning message, shipping message. So we have a interface within ATTP where we can verify. So what are the messages coming in, and what are the messages are reporting to the regulatory body or our any other business partner. So those messages are called outbound. So whatever message coming in is called as a inbound, and whatever the message going out is called as a outbound. Okay. Then this is repository. So again, EPSIS data model. So I'll just explain you how it looks like and what are the things we should be concerned about. Encoding and decoding. So these are the some set of things from the GS1 standard. So we are simply has to maintain in our ATTP system. And again, we just discussed about the serialized GTIN, serialized shipping container, so LGTIN, lot level GTIN. Okay. So event. So since starting of this class, I am just saying about commissioning message, shipping message, right? So these are the events. And reporting event is like once commissioning message comes into our system, so we have a rule, that rule will be get triggered and it is reported to the EU hub. So that is called as reporting event. Okay. So when shipping message or any decommissioning message comes into our system, so again another rule will get triggered and it is reported to the EU hub. Okay. Then transaction, again this is the transactional data like production order, process order, outbound delivery, inbound delivery, batches. Then event capture logic, like in case of if you are unpacking the data, so there should be a event record date. Okay. Supply chain reporting in ATTP. So these are the, I mean, different file format like ESN, ASN, but as per me, so I never concerned about these versions and the formats, because all we do is how we are getting connected with the system and what are the file types we are just consuming in. So basically, most of the clients will use the EPSIS. Okay. So as I said, so I'm going to show you how EPSIS file looks like and how it would be. Okay. See, this is packing. As we discussed in that architecture view of the, I mean, architecture page. So in order to uh, consume and exchange the serial number between the CMO and ourselves. So we have to set up the connection. We have to set up a logical system and all those things, right? So then we have, I mean, the packaging line or CMO has to send some serial number request. Then the serial number provisioning. That means we'll just provide those numbers to that request. Okay. Once those done, either packaging line or the CMO, they just pack. I mean, they will pack the things and they will send the commissioning message. So once commissioning message is we received, so we'll just report those numbers to the EU hub. And then in case of, I mean, while doing the shipping, if some damage happened, again they will send a decommissioning message and same thing will be reported to the EU hub. So this slide will show you more detail, like how it goes. So even we have added a packaging line 1 to palletizing and warehouse operations. So packaging 1. So this is where the initial packaging will cover up, like the blisters will be printed with the required serial number, batch and all those things. Same things will be repeated on the packaging line 2 also at case level. Then all these packaging to, like the cases, will be aggregated and again palletized. Means the 10 or 20 boxes will be moved into another big box called pallet, And again the palette level printing also will happen, like again the LGT number, again I mean the lots which are aggregated within the case, those details will be printed over here. Okay, again it all depends upon the business requirement, but in our case, like in case of EU, palletizing and all those things, no one is concerned. So EU will just concern about the item level serialization. And in case of Russia, so they will just uh, take whole thing, like the palletization, even the packaging level. They need to have each and every detail. And along with the serial numbers, Russia has a other serial numbers called crypto codes. These crypto codes are generated by the government. These are the prepaid, I mean the customer has to pay for these numbers. And along with the serial numbers, these crypto codes should be printed over the items. So that strict is Russia. Distributed instance of SAP ATTP. So this is again another high level picture. So how it is connected and how the file exchanges happen. So once we go into our training sessions and practice sessions, so we can just discuss these things more in detail. Functionality and all those things, like I mean, this is a just self-explanatory slide. Master data integration with the SAP ERP. So they just given a comparison with the SAP Auto ID infrastructure with the SAP track and trace. So this is another tool. The thing is, I never worked on this SAP Auto ID infrastructure. So the whole experience that I have is on SAP ATTP only. So as we said, SAP ATTP is a well sound enough tool, so it can just serve any country and any business requirement. So there might be any provision to make the customization. So if business process is critical, so we can just take it up through customization. Yeah, that's it guys, thank you. Any questions? I think we're done within given hours. Okay.